All right, week 2, CIT82 with me, Rio Waller. Hey, listen, can you believe it? We got through week 1 and we got through whatever it was that was challenged you this week. I know I had several challenges that met me head on, but hopefully you got over them. I see most of you got through the work here, so that's awesome. So what I'm going to do is really, in this video, give you a kind of a let's make sure we're clear. Matter of fact, that's the presentation I have, right? About there. Let's make sure we're clear about a couple things here: class chat, attendance, and required replies. So in our course, and I said this in the first week, so let me just say this, that I am going to run a class chat. And I run these with my other students as well in my other class, and they work really well. So you need to send me your Gmail, send that to me, and I'll add you to our class chat, which is right here. There we go. Susie's in there. So in this case, this is a great way to get help. Let me just turn to the screen here. This is a great way to get help and connect with your fellow students. It may not always be me you connect with, depending on the time of day, because I typically am not a late night person. I'm kind of after 8, I'm kind of gone, and sometimes after 7, depending on what's going on for me. Okay, so that's the first thing. Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to say here was about attendance, right? So I posted here that the first week there was make sure you reply to this to show your attendance. Next week I will have, and I'm going to do it over the weekend, I'm going to figure out based on Canvas a better way to do attendance. So I just want to tell you that look for that. It'll be posted Monday at sometime in the morning, and it'll be available through the week, right? So that's the other thing you can know is that I'll post it on a Monday. You'll have until a Friday to show that you were in class, and really it's just because I have to report this stuff to the campus. You only have to show it once, and it'll probably be some sort of short thing that you just have to do just so that you connect in with the class. Okay, so look for that Monday, and I'll probably send something out about that as well. Or I might wait until I get this uploaded. I don't know. Well, you'll see something from me, okay? All right, so that was about that. And the other thing is that I just want to be clear that all of the discussion boards, and really remember, hopefully you're getting used to this, there's 2 types of discussion boards each week, right? And the thing is they're due, right? Hopefully you're getting used to this, and if not, right, the calendar is great. Yes, I finally figured out where to find the calendar larger, okay? Is that these are always due on Monday. Now, about this, in the past when I've taught this class, I've made it a requirement that students do their main post before a certain due date, and the replies are due thereafter. And I'm actually trying to hope that you guys will all step up and just do this before the due date. And here's why, is that if you wait until the day it's due, there are some folks who like to work ahead. I'm happen to be one of those, and I know there are some others in this class because I've talked to them. And if you will post your main post before the due date, then other students will have a chance to reply, okay? And I will not grade this work either when the due date comes, right? So there will be some points associated with replies. So I won't be grading these items until I see all those posts. So it'll be your main post and then replies to 2 students. And Blackboard had a nice system for this. I actually had an way where I could only show it was submitted once there was required replies. And maybe Canvas has something, so I'll look around again on my weekend work to see if I can figure out a way to do that. But for now, just know that that's true. Okay, so we had our first lecture from me, and now you're going to have the second lecture from lynda.com. Okay, so I already have it here, which is web technologies. And I even said if you saw this in our course that I had completed watching it this week. What's nice is, by the way, and these I think are good to have, at the end of it you can get a completion, and I think those things are just good to keep track of. So just know once you complete all of them, you will get that, right? And hopefully you're all getting used to this concept of doing your notes, right? So that what you will do this week is you'll take that where you left off with the lecture on the Google Doc, and you'll write the next one, which will be here. So let me just, because I actually just ended up going over this with some of my other students in my 15 class. So that same doc you used, right, to do last week's, you'll use it again this week, but this time you'll do, I don't even remember, I think it's web technologies, right? Fundamentals, right? So in this case, make each different lecture a title like this, right? So this will be the current one, all right, and the one before that will be about CIT82. And you're only sharing this one document with me, right? So once you share it, right, once you go in there and share it, and I showed you how to do this, just make sure you put the most current lecture on top. Everything else will scroll down. And what's cool here is that at the end, you will have all yours together. So I just want to make clear about that requirement, okay? All right, so let me go back over here to Canvas. So the other thing I wanted to say about doing this is that I am open. So here's the deal, is that some of you have prior experience to taking this class, and what I'd like to say is that if you have a topic that you want to substitute for one of my existing topics, then you're welcome to email me and ask me, because I've laid out some topics the way I want to do them, but if you have a different series that you want to do, you know, for each week, give me that, but I have to have them a week before they're due. So make sure that if you're thinking, you know, I already have the experience, I'd like to listen to a different lecture, then you just need to get in touch with me, and I'm open to that concept. Okay, so let's see, that's this, and then on the next, let me see, what else did I have? I had required replies, I had attendance, I had class chat that I wanted to be clear about. And so what we can do here is just finish with the idea of the lectures and the hands-on, because we've already talked about how the lectures will go this week. Oh, let me show you my screen so you have that, right? You're wondering what I'm clicking on. I'm clicking on something and you're not seeing it. So let's talk about the hands-on this week. All right, so back in Canvas, what you'll see here is you'll have a hands-on assignment in current technologies. The hands-on assignment is for you to map out your network connections and your IPs. My guess is many of you will have multiple connections you use through a typical day. So what I want you to do is map out those connections, and I'll show you a way I've done it, and you can use whatever graphing tool you need. But let me show you how I ended up doing this. I used a program called MindMister, but you could use Google Docs for this as well. So here's the cloud, right? Here's the internet. Here's my home connection. I have multiple connections here, and then I have my office, and then I have my cell connection. So what you want to do is find your IP numbers, okay? So let me just show you what I'm just going to click on, and in this case it goes to an external, and here is a print screen of my Mac showing that IP number, okay? So I'm hoping, since you've taken CIT15, that you know how to find IPs, how to find your IP addresses. And if you're setting on a network that is a private, or you're connected to a router, you will have an IP that is for private, and then you have a different one for public. And so hopefully you know how to find those things, but I'm going to count on you to tell me if you don't. But let me just give you a quick demo. So if I'm on Windows, right, and many of us are, right, you can do IP config. Okay, so IP configs. Now these days, because we're moving to IP6, hopefully you know this, right? So in this case there is only an IP6. No, there's an IP4 as well, okay? So this is the IP4 configuration, Internet Protocol Addressing Scheme version 4, and here is version 6. You can provide either of these or something like that. Do a print screen of that, right? So you'll want to have a home connection. So this would be the internal network, right? So you have an internal connection, and then you'll have what is your public connection, right? So easy to find that. What's my IP is really the best way to do that. And you can also use this same what's my IP on mobile devices, right? So you can see how I did that here. On my cell service, I would provide a print screen there, right? So I want at least 3, right? So, you know, if you have to go to somebody else's house to get that, that's cool. So and you'll notice on the home ones, and although I didn't do it here, you could, that's where I'd want that internal private IP and then your public IP's addresses, okay? All right, so that is the, and by the way, you can also use Google Docs for this. And also Google has a product called Drawing. I think Drawing would be another great way to do this. You would then create, however you wanted to do the maps, and then you could do insert hyperlinks. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, right? So you could do this another way. So have fun with this. So the last thing, back to Canvas again, is that you'll have as topics, right? So the topic this week, the current discussion, is really about the idea of a web app versus a website. So what I've provided, let me go to modules. I think that's a better way to look at this. And actually calendar is even a better way. So you go to websites and web apps, you read this article, right? You think about, something, heading about site versus apps, right? So summarize what you feel about the article, right? And read this. I've really asked if you were needing to build something, and you might, or you think about something you'd want to build, write about that, okay? All right, so hopefully this is all the information you need to get to week 2. Really important to make sure you're keeping track with this class. Remember, I grade as soon as I see the work has been complete. So just know that that's true. Get on class chat so you can ask questions, look for attendance for next week, and have fun.